Here's something that's just going to blow your mind about ChatGPT5. I gave it the exact same coding problems, two different setups, and produced a fully working app in one and completely bombed it in the other. Same model, same prompt, wildly different results. But that's just the tip of the iceberg of what I discovered when I tested GPT-5 on real-world problems that would cause most AI models to cry. While the rest of the globes listened to the live streams and read the announcements, I was building an electronic obstacle course of corrupted CSV, SQL injection attacks, and deliberately twisted data. I invented what I called gnarly tests. Imagine crawling through mud filled with barbed wire, but for AI. What I learned will change the way you go about applying this model. ChatGPT5 is not just another incremental build. It's a collection of assembled specialty models, all crammed into a trench code, and each tuned to be nice for other things. Assembled twist: if you wish the best, you need to know how to ask for them. Easy prompting days are perhaps behind us. Most responses on ChatGPT5 only reach the surface. They recite benchmarks, quote managers, and reprise the lunch demo with the tacky medical case study. But if you have viewed those slides, you likely walked away thinking, okay, but how in the world does this machine really work in the mess of real life? That's the gap I'm filling today. I spent hours deeply working on GPT-5, pushing it in ways that the official demo couldn't. Coding exercises, confusing data analysis, genuine problem solving, and even getting it to plan a trip that I actually do intend to take. And what I found was incredible. It's not just a slightly better GPT-4, it's a model that can switch from being the best model you ever collaborated with to the most frustrating, sometimes during the same afternoon. Let's break it down. Okay, what ChatGPT5 really is. At first, OpenAI presented ChatGPT5 as a single supermodel entity, but under the hood, it's really a router, a traffic cop routing your questions to whichever model in its table seems best suited for the job. It's a relay race with varying runners having specialties for varying types of courses. That's why people refer to it as a bunch of models under a trench code. If you're writing a code, it takes you to one. If you're asking a medical question, it might take you to another that has been tuned for health data. An advantage is adaptability. The disadvantage, incongruity. We saw that in a lunch live stream where they showcased a cancer survivor utilizing GPT-5 for healthcare help. It was powerful and emotional, although some used it uncomfortably proximate to profiteering on illness. Still, the message was unmistakable. Healthcare is an imperative investment. They plan on using GPT-5 to give safer, more reliable health advice than any other general-purpose AI out there. And in the benchmarks, it performs. But in the real world, the experience is as much dependent on context and, as I discovered, on the way you ask it. Speaking of coding, for that is where GPT-5 most flexes. Through the demo, it one-shot entire apps, switching freely between different builds. The message was clear. Code is now for everyone. But this is where it gets really interesting. I gave GPT-5 a real challenge. Build me a customizable travel planning app for Japan. Different interests, different filters, not a toy prototype, a working app. And in OpenAI's own Canvas environment, GPT-5 nailed it. It delivered a clickable, interactive code with real destinations. I was actually able to book a vacation with it, but when I gave the very same prompt to Lovable, which also runs GPT-5, it tanked. Blank interface, no interactivity, nothing. Why the huge difference? It seems GPT-5 sinks inside its preferred environment, the place it was trained and reinforced, but falls flat when exported elsewhere. Cloud code behaves the same way. Magical in a terminal, but underwhelming in other tools. So yes, GPT-5 is a coding powerhouse, but only if you're using it in the right place. One of the defining features of GPT-5 is this. If you tell it to prove something in code or mathematics, it gets better. That's not a bug, it's a continuation of a trend that goes back to GPT-3. For example, I asked it to make a Gantt chart of Apollo 13 mission. As a written exercise, it did a poor job. The timeline was confusing and incomplete, but when I told it, code me the chart, it sprang to life. It produced an operational, clickable Gantt chart that really worked. Still messy perhaps, but real functional output. This is a more profound truth. GPT-5 is not just a writer, it's a builder. It enjoys being probed to formalize its reasoning, whether in code or data or step-by-step logic. If you request words alone, you're in danger of missing its real power. So if you're a programmer, or even just a tinkerer, interested in what this device can achieve, the lesson is simple. Don't just ask it to explain. Ask it to show. Alright, now that we've finished with the demos and are squeaky clean, let's head into the mud. I exposed GPT-5 to what I call a gnarly test. 3 CSVs all corrupted in different manner. Formatting problems, duplicates, even a stealthy SQL injection attack. That is a real-world data horror show. My task, figure it out. Identify the employees, mark the duplicates, catch the injection, and report back in a clear manner. The results were incredible. GPT-5 with no setting changed actually performed worse than previous models. It lost out on things Cloud Code and GPT 3.5 Pro didn't even flinch over. But if I pressed the new Think Hard button, GPT-5 was suddenly the best of the best. It picked up on the injection, and it made sense of the chaos. So what does this mean? Mode choice and nudging are more critical than ever. GPT-5 is not a single brain fixed in a location. It's a group of minds that you have to learn to guide. Treat it as a home appliance, and it might fall short. Drive it deliberately, and it will do no other model has done. And it's not all about code. One of the most underrated upgrades in GPT-5 is its writing. I've been using it for essays, draft even critics, and honestly, it's the most natural, thoughtful writing I've seen from an AI so far. It cadences better, writes more smoothly, and avoids the stiff, robotic quality older systems fell into. Sure, it still over-anchors onto what you just typed, give it a vogue instructions, and you'll get vogue output. But when you specify, it's like having a co-pilot at a helm, not a machine. And it's not just a writer, it's a reader. I wrote it a handwritten essay, messy edits, scrawled notes, and not only did it read the handwriting, but gave me a readable review. For students, marketers, or execs putting presentations together, that's enormous. So while GPT-5's coding abilities grabbed headlines, don't underestimate its pen. For a great number of people, this will be their new driver for communication. Let's zoom out. The launch of GPT-5 sparked wild reactions. Some hailed it as a best model ever, others dismissed it as overhyped, insisting we're still miles from true general intelligence. Betting markets even swung from #1 model to nothing special within days. Here's my take. The truth lies somewhere in the middle. Prodded well, GPT-5 is the best model I have used. Full stop. But if you want fireworks, entirely new abilities no AI has ever approached before, you might be left shortchanged. Because GPT-5 doesn't change the world, it makes it better. Less hallucination, more sensible reasoning, stronger writing, safer medical outcomes, more reliable coding. That ain't a revolution, that's evolution, but evolution matters. To a human being reliant upon reliable medical information, more than 2-3x fewer errors is between fear and faith. So instead of questioning, is this AGI, the better one is this useful for me today? And for most of us, the answer will be yes. So what does that leave us with? GPT-5 is not a perfect genius. It's an assembly of models taped together, each with their own strategic capabilities and strengths. Occasionally, it trips over its own feet. But for comparison to a few years ago, it's astonishing progress. Consider 2 years ago, if you had seen this model, you would have sworn it was artificial general intelligence. Today, we shrug and say, it's alright, just another update. That's how fast this curve is moving. Don't concern yourself with whether it's the best model in the world that changes week to week. Instead, ask yourself, does it make you think better, work better, and produce better? While coding, writing, or for data, for working through problems day after day, the answer is resounding yes. This is my new daily driver. Yours will probably be different, but either way, we're living through history, an intelligence explosion before our very eyes. Make use of it, drive it, and don't hesitate to click that Think Hard button because Sometimes the magic only shows up when you do. If this review was helpful, please like and subscribe. If you like more new hyped hands-on testing like this, we're gonna have good videos about GPT-5 and other AI advancements. And if you want to get deeper, the following video is crazy. I'm contrasting OpenAI and Coca-Cola, how a research lab was able to achieve Coca-Cola level valuation within few years. Click here or the first link in the description to see that now.